Hello and welcome back to Auto Social UK. All the way back in 2006, Suzuki brought out the SX4. It was a super mini based crossover and it was well ahead of its time, coming before the likes of the Nissan Duke and the Renault Captur. Now skip to 2021 and the SX4 has had a few face changes, a few drivetrain changes and even a 4x4 option. Plus it's had a few different name changes. Now for 2021, the SX4 is reborn as the S-Cross and it's finally a hybrid. If you like new car reviews, then please don't forget to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I post every Saturday a new review on a new car. Right, let's get into the review of the Suzuki S-Cross. Trying to compete in a segment which is full of funky looking crossovers, the Suzuki S-Cross does look somewhat plain. It's probably going to be a car that you buy with your head rather than your heart. It does now have a much more appealing grille design, but the rear is slightly plain compared to other models. The last cosmetic facelift came in late 2016. This made it look tougher, adding a distinctive chrome grille and a suite of styling changes, including raised suspension, chunky alloy wheels, and new plastic cladding above the wheel arches and on the side skirts. Explaining the specifications of this car is refreshingly simple, and that's because it only comes in 3 different trim options with no option to add factory extras. You get the SZ4, the SZ-T and the top of the range SZ5. But even on the lower spec model, you still get loads of the necessities like aircon, Bluetooth, Apple and Android CarPlay and even cruise control. To say the crossover section of the market is reasonably saturated is probably the understatement of the century. The Suzuki S-Cross has got some real competition with some rather funky rivals. The S-Cross is a sensible car with plenty of space in a reasonably practical style. If you don't like anything too in your face, then the S-Cross might be the option for you. Boot capacity is a useful 430 litres, adding 875 litres with the back seats flipped down. Not only is the boot roomy, but it's practical too. A wide opening makes easy access, the floor is low and the boot lip is flush with the floor, making it easy to lift heavy items in. It's square in shape too, with a deep cubby hole on either side. Lifting up the boot floor reveals more space beneath, ideal for storing valuable items and keeping them out of sight. Competitors to the S-Cross are the Volkswagen T-Cross and also the Seat Arona, but thanks to the S-Cross being one of the biggest in its class, it's actually got a boot which is equal to that of the Nissan Qashqai. There's more than enough space in the S-Cross to comfortably carry 4 adults. If you did want to carry a 5th person on a longer journey, you're probably going to want to make it a child. There's plenty of legroom and lots of shoulder space as well. The only place it's lacking is on headroom, and that's because these rear seats sit up slightly higher than the ones in the front, especially if you go for the SZ5 as that gets a panoramic sunroof. There's also one other small issue, and that's that there's a centre hump here. So people sitting in the middle will either have to have their legs up or they'll have to straddle that. Inside the cabin, though not inspiring, it's actually very practical and everything's placed where you'd expect it to be. They've used some quite nice materials considering this is meant to be one of the cheapest crossovers on the market. You've got a nice leather wrapped armrest, steering wheel, and you've got some leather across the dash as well, whereas in other crossovers you tend to have that hard shiny plastic. So it's nice to see this alternative, though it can be deemed a little bit dull. The seats aren't particularly that inspiring, they feel slightly cheap, but if you do go for the top spec SZ5, which is still quite affordable, you do get full leather. Finding a comfortable driving position is really simple. You've got lots of movement in the steering wheel for height and reach, and you've also got lots of adjustments in the seats as well. You can sit up really high in this car if you want to. The only negative I would say is you can't get any electrical adjusted seats, even on the top spec model. Specification across all of the models is actually really generous. In this middle spec SZ-T car, I've got adaptive cruise control, automatic lights and wipers, I've got a rear view camera with parking sensors, and I've got keyless entry and start. If you step up to the top spec SZ5, you get full leather interior, a panoramic sunroof which is sliding, and you also get an upgraded sound system. Visibility is a definite strong point on the S-Cross. You've got a really big front windscreen and quite small front pillars, so seeing round corners and on roundabouts is really easy. Plus these seats, as I stated before, will go really quite high. So if you want to sit up high and look over the bonnet, you've got that option. If this is the first time that you're stepping up from something like a hatchback to a crossover, it's definitely a good option for feeling comfortable. Similar to all of that, you've also got a nice big rear screen and quite small rear pillars. So all round visibility is a big high point. Under the bonnet is Suzuki's newest version of their booster jet engine. It's the same one that you'll find in the Suzuki Swift Sport. It's a 1.4 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine, and it's paired together with a 48 kilowatt lithium-ion battery that's mounted under the passenger seat. Now, Suzuki claims that these two power outputs combined improve your fuel economy by up to 15% and also reduce your emissions by 20%. All in all, there is one negative, and that's that the car is slightly heavier, but only by 15 kilograms over the previous model, which, when you think about it, is quite insignificant. On paper, the engine produces 127 brake horsepower, and it will get from 0 to 62 from standstill in 10.2 seconds, which doesn't sound particularly great, but then again, that is pretty standard for the crossover class. It also will get fuel economy of just under 50 miles per gallon, which actually that is what I have been getting whilst I've been driving this car. It also has claimed CO2 emissions of 139 grams per kilometre. The hybrid system works quietly in the background, harvesting energy otherwise lost to recharge the battery during braking and coasting, then assisting the engine during the acceleration and cruising. Unlike other models, the S-Cross is just a mild hybrid, so it only charges whilst you're driving and there's no option to plug it in. It also won't drive on full electric. The Suzuki's biggest downfall is its suspension. It is slightly brittle at lower speeds. If you hit a pothole or a bit of rough road, you're going to know about it. The German car brands like the Volkswagen T-Cross or the Skoda Karoq are definitely more comfortable at low speeds. The flip side to that, however, is it actually corners rather tidily, without excessive body roll or the desperation to show you what understeer is. Safety equipment is reasonably good, so I have got front collision warning, probably because this middle model does have adaptive cruise control, and something I really like is actually there's a button to turn the front collision warning off. I actually really like it, I use it a lot and I think it's a really good tool for keeping people safe. But I know that a lot of people don't like it, and if you don't, it's nice to have just the option to hit that button. It doesn't have lane assist, which does seem to be something that's becoming standard on a lot of other cars. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you liked it, then please go ahead and give it a massive thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. What do you think about the Suzuki S-Cross? Is it good enough to take on some of the competitors on the market? If you wanted any more information on the Suzuki S-Cross, then make sure you follow the link in the description box and I'll make sure I get you a great deal. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!